basic level to the tertiary level. Let me pick your opening thoughts on what you think the implications will be.
Good. You see, this COVID-19 has really exposed the whole country to the things that we have failed to think, we've failed to envision where our country should be. That is why we're facing the pinch so much. Okay, so much so that we are now fighting to put in place basic things that we should have done long ago. And that has been one of my problems with our policymakers in this country. We have always seemed to be at the back of development. There are things that people have advocated. There are things that people with vision have said that, look, let's look into this future. But it has become a thing that if you are not part of those who make the decision, whatever you say doesn't matter. Okay, and it is not only with our education. Today, our discussion is with education, and I will zero in on education. But soon, we will be exposed in all sectors of our economy. Now look at the doctor-patient ratio. Look at our lawyers-citizen ratio. And we're going to suffer in all these places when we are hit one way or the other. So we have become a country where we sit and allow things to happen, then we now draw policy to bring things in line when the harm is being caused. See, let's now zero into education. Online education or e-learning is the way to go. It is what all developed countries are doing. And this shouldn't be a big problem for us where we stand now. This should have been an ongoing thing so that when this thing happens, we will not feel it much. The only thing we would miss is the oral face-to-face. But other than that, we can fall on our online learning platforms. But the way it is now, we are being forced, or the students are being forced onto a system that they are not used to. And not that they are going to be directed or they are going to learn in the process, but they are going to be assessed. And that is where my problem is. Okay, so that as it is good because we have a situation and we have to do a situation analysis, that we can't say that in the face of what we are doing and because we are not used to the online system of learning, we should stay till the COVID-19 is passed. Of course it will pass. We have to do something in the interim. So whilst we turn to our e-learning platform, we are saying that care must be taken instead of going so hard on the students as if it is something that existed and the students have not done it.
Great. Now, I think that these opening comments, set the tone for the conversation that I want to have. Now, we are doing it nationwide, but there are structural defects and structural bottlenecks. I'll give you a few. There's a limitation in the coverage of connectivity on the online platforms that we're giving. There's also, a reinvention of the doomsaw that we used to have. And so you know that these days in a secondary and then basic level, we are moving the education onto TV. And so you get the access on TV or on radio. But people don't have even light, electricity in some of their areas. And when we begin the argument on the efficiency of the online module that we are raising, really,
you can't have an effective online learning when the backbone, when the infrastructure is not correct. I mean, I would say humbly that I'll classify myself as a middle income person. I live in a quite distant area, Central Hill. As I speak to you now, I'm speaking from the house, and my light is gone off. I'm subscribed to 4G internet access. If I send one chat message on WhatsApp, it takes more than 1-2 minutes for the message to be delivered. So look at me. I mean, somebody who would classify himself humbly as a middle income person. I don't have electricity in my house. I have to turn to generator because the national grid is gone off. My internet, which is 4G, expensive, using quite good phone, when I send a message, takes so long. So how do you expect me to download notes and do effective work when even I, myself, where I stand, I'm with how much I've given into it with my place of residence, with the connectivities that I have, it's not effective. So it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So, and this is Accra, the capital. I mean, a decent residential area in the capital. So now talk about other places. And are you finding out how many people even own the PC? Because if we are faced with this pandemic, and we are saying that people should isolate, are we sure that the students who we are forcing to learn on the platform own a dedicated laptop or computers that they will be able to learn on? Or we're saying that we don't care. We've put we've made the rule. If you like, follow it and do your studies. If you like, don't follow it and we fail you. We have to do a situational analysis and find out.
On a policy level, I mean, from the space of education, what should we be doing? Because at least quite structurally, we've been able to identify the bottlenecks. You've talked about the fluctuations in the internet connectivity. You've talked about the possibility of logistical constraints. Do these students even have dedicated laptops and so on and so forth? We've talked about the access to electricity and power, even as we move online, which is highly dependent on the access to electricity and power. What should we be doing to cater for some of the people who may not be so well placed to access the platforms that we've created?
We have to find out alternative. We have to find out alternative learning platforms. Are we going to use television? Are we going to use other media or other media, if you like? We have to find out all that and make sure that, irrespective of where any student is in this country, Ghana, and even international students who may have traveled back home, they will not miss out on the learning. So we have to find out alternatives. And also, thankfully, we don't have first-year students, which means that all students in school have done one semester already, by which the university is able to assess their performance based on their previous performance in school. So that my position is, whilst we struggle through teaching students in the face of COVID-19, whatever they're going to do should not be scoring. It should be a non-scoring basis. It should be on a non-scoring basis. Because you have, if you have level 300 students, you have from level 100 to level 200, from level 100 first semester to level 300 first semester marks with which you can assess their performance. There's a trajectory. And even those in level 100, this is not their first semester, they are in their second semester, which means that they've done first semester examination already. So you can assess that. So my position is, once we try as a country to find alternative ways to continue teaching students, whatever the students are going to do should be non-scoring. In an attempt to score them would be a problem, and you would disadvantage those who would not have the full facilities, who would not have the full infrastructure for online learning.
But how drastic really the implication of non-scoring a whole academic semester? In fact, in the University of Ghana, we had done about 6 weeks in a semester, and just waiting to wrap it up with the remaining 7 weeks before the semester ends. How drastic would doing 7 weeks, non-scoring?
Yeah, it's not done half. So we'll say that we've lost the semester. And we pray that this thing will end soon, this COVID-19 will end soon, so that activities will get back to normal. But we've lost it. And we have to find ways going forward to be able to make up with the loss, which means that we're going to forfeit some vacations. Okay, we're going to make adjustments. We're going to have extended hours just so we can make up for the loss. But for this semester, as far as I'm concerned, our IT infrastructure is not good enough, coupled with other national problems, in order to grade students or assess students based on their e-learning.
Great. So for you, the argument is that we are being, we are in a state of denial, really, and denying the reality of the fact that we might have already lost the semester, and only trying to push the system so that we say, okay, we've not lost it, let's do online and add the rest. So you think that we've lost it?
Yes, we've lost the system. So doing online is a way of engaging the student. Okay, so an online learning, I think that again, it's about time we move from this so much theoretical teaching to a project-based approach teaching. So that instead of forcing students to go online and teach them something, why don't you give them a project-based approach? Let's give us a project.
That would have sufficed. That would have sufficed, if we didn't have lockdowns or we didn't have calls to limit the movement and so on. Because, for instance, we have practical courses and clinical courses like medicine, dentistry, and the rest. You'd have to pick data from hospitals, and that is at least quite practical in the sense of the conversation that we are having. But students cannot go and do that because of COVID-19. They have to limit their movement and their interaction with people.
See, you have in the field, you have field projects, and then you have what we call the desk project. Okay, so again, we're doing situational analysis. If they cannot move into the field, there are other research that you can have enough time and sit around and do, even if it's got to do with developing academic writing. Because as a former lecturer, and I taught for 10 years in the university, the standard of writing sometimes is very poor. How to do citations, how to write good project essays. Engage them with writing. Okay, if we have to use, we're saying that all these tools that we have are not the best, but given ample time without stress on us, we can use all these social media tools to, administer questionnaires and then write based on the small libraries and online things that we have. So that it has not become an everyday engagement where a lecturer is teaching on video, therefore everybody at 8 o'clock must watch it and do something, okay? There must be alternative ways. That's all what I'm saying. Instead of being in denial and forcibly by false pretenses, pushing students into a certain corner where you know that you are not giving them an even playing field. And I've said that educational segregation is not good for any country and it's not good for any group of people. Where some are advantaged, therefore they can do certain things, and others are disadvantaged and they cannot do. Yet you assess them on the same level. It is what we call educational segregation, which is not good. So that if we are not sure that electricity is available for everybody, everybody has laptops, everybody can access the internet at a good speed to learn, then don't do it to disadvantage some people. And that is what we have done always. See, this example was cited many years ago when we were writing common entrance, that they asked a question, when you close from school and you come home, where do you hang your uniform? And then those who live in the city will say, I hang them in the wardrobe. Those who live in the rural area says, I hang them on a nail behind the door. And then they say the good answer is in the wardrobe, because that's where you put your uniform. While somebody sitting in the rural area who has never even seen a wardrobe before. And people were failed based on those kinds of
answers.
Okay? So we must be realistic, and this should help us think into the future instead of doing things on a knee-jerk reaction. We should open up and think into the future and find advanced and innovative ways of doing things. It should not only be at the university today. It's going to splash in our face when it gets to other sectors. And we should begin to think now.
I'm grateful that you spoke to me. That's quite a handful, very realistic conversation. Thank you.